SubhanAllah, just as I was driving to the masjid, I had a whole different topic to discuss today. And then I was just talking to myself and I said to myself, I don't think I'm ready. Today is Salat al-Taraweeh, I should be leading Taraweeh prayer. And I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. And I was struggling to put a khutbah together. And I said to myself, you know what? If this is the way I feel, I'm very sure that some of us here in this room feel the same way. And I said to myself, let me open my heart and I speak to you out loud what's in my mind. And so you're not in this alone. If you are struggling with this, wallahi, you're not in this alone.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. He says, all believers, have taqwa in Allah Azza wa Jal, which means that you strive to be conscious of who Allah is, to have Allah always in your mind, or at least try to have Allah always in your mind. And then he said, don't allow yourselves to die except in a state of Islam, state of La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I begin my khutbah by asking Allah Azza wa Jal first and foremost to send blessings and prayers upon our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa an'im wa barik ala nabiyyina wa habibina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim tasliman kathira. Amma ba'd. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Not sure if the microphone is working well, but please check it inshallah ta'ala. We want to make sure that the sound goes all the way to the sisters as well, inshallah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said in a hadith that إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانَ إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانَ when Ramadan arrives, when Ramadan comes to your house, to you, to your family, things will happen. He starts off by saying, فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ doors of heaven are open, widely open. وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ النَّارِ and the doors of hellfire will be locked. وَصُفِّدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ and the third thing he said, the shayateen will be locked up, will be in chain. Now, in the light of this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that the doors of heaven will be open for you during this month of Ramadan. And you can take that meaning literally, like the doors of heaven. Jannah is open for those who strive to enter it. And then you can actually get a deeper meaning of this, and you can say, and this is how some scholars interpreted this hadith. They said, these are doors of opportunities, of khayr, of real change that you can seek. So Ramadan is that opportunity that comes in your way once every single year. SubhanAllah, I think the question would be, as we are navigating the Ramadan preparation, tonight is going to be our first Taraweeh prayer. Tomorrow is going to be my first fasting day. As we are getting ready, as we are getting our hearts ready, our minds ready, our bodies ready, I think there is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Are we even ready for Ramadan? And by the way, if you're not ready for Ramadan, that's not a problem. we need to first and foremost acknowledge the fact that maybe we are just very overwhelmed right now. Maybe I'm not meeting this spiritual high that some others have. And that's okay. I think we need to just internalize where we at emotionally and spiritually. So yes, some of us, we may not be ready for Ramadan. Some of us, Ramadan comes with some stress and some just challenges that we're struggling to go through. And that comes with a toll on us. And so is there anything wrong with this? The answer is no. I think the answer is, how can we deal with these emotions? How can we address these emotions right now? If I'm sitting right now here telling myself, Ramadan is tomorrow, oh my God, I'm not even ready for that. I hear many khutbahs, many talks, many lectures about Ramadan, and I just don't think that I'm ready yet. Then this khutbah is for you. So number one, there are some steps that we need to take, inshallah ta'ala, to get ourselves ready for the month of Ramadan that is coming up in few hours, inshallah ta'ala. Number one, acknowledging your feeling and your emotions and where you're at. Acknowledgement is the first step. Understanding that you are human and you have weaknesses and you have flaws and you have limited capacity. You're not a Superman, okay, or a Superwoman. You are human and Allah has created us with weaknesses. Acknowledging these flaws is much better than suppressing our emotions and brushing it under the carpet, because sometimes we do this. I know I'm not ready for Ramadan. I know I'm very overwhelmed, but you know what? I'm just gonna ignore these emotions. And I will go ahead and start my month of Ramadan. The damage of this is that leads to burnout. That actually leads to a lot of anxiety and burnout. Why? Because you didn't even address these emotions. So yes, acknowledgement. Tell yourself, well, I think I'm not ready yet. That's okay. This is the first step in the ilaj, in the treatment. That's the first step. Acknowledgement. You can resolve something that you're not even in an acknowledgement of. If you're not acknowledging that I have an issue, you will never be able to resolve it. So that's number one, acknowledgement. Number two, know for a fact that spiritual growth is a journey, not a destination. I'll say it again. Spiritual growth is a journey, not necessarily a destination. What I mean by this, there is a hadith, a beautiful hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ. The most beloved deeds to Allah Azza wa Jal are those who are small but consistent. Why did he mention small? Because that's a strategy. The strategy is to keep consistency through these small actions. And know that Allah wouldn't hold you accountable for the results. Allah will judge you and me based on the effort. That's why we say it's a journey, not a destination. Allah never judges human beings based on results. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, how many years he has given da'wah to his people? 950 years. How many people believed with Prophet Nuh alayhi salam in Allah? Very few. So if we're talking about results, then Prophet Nuh did not succeed in giving da'wah. If we're talking about pursuit and effort, which what matters to Allah Azza wa Jal, then Prophet Nuh is from Ulul Azmi min al-Rusul, the top 5 prophets in the history of mankind. If we're talking about results, then Prophet Nuh's son, his own son, did not believe in his risala. His own son did not believe in his risalah. Allah addressed this in the Quran. When Prophet Nuh ﷺ was there asking his son to come with him in the journey on the ship, and Prophet Nuh, his son, told him, no, I'm going to be at a mountain and I will be fine. And then Prophet Nuh told him, there is no one will be saved except the believers today. Just come with us. And he refused. So if we're talking about results, then these great prophets have failed. Hashahum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this in the Quran. He said, وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. What matters to Allah Azza wa Jal is your pursuit and my pursuit, your effort and my effort. And then he said, and your effort will be shown to Allah Azza wa Jal on the day of judgment. SubhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمَلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَن يُتْقِنَهُ. He said, like Allah loves when you do something that you strive to do it right. He didn't say, إن الله إذا أحب إن الله يحب إذا عمل أحدكم عملا أن يأتي بنتائج هائلة. You know, like just like Allah loves when He gets good results from you. No. It's about the journey. It's about the journey. It's not necessarily about the destination. Yes, we have to be visionary. Yes, we have to aim for goals. But then the real effort is what matters to Allah Azza wa Jal. I'll say one more thing before going to the next point. Do you know what khushu' means? Khushu'. Some of us believe or think that khushu' is the ultimate point of focus that we get during our prayers. When you're just like completely, away from all of these distractions, and your heart and your mind and your body are just like in full focus in your prayer. Right? That's the common understanding of khushu'. Well, this is not necessarily the right definition of khushu'. What is the right definition of khushu'? Khushu' is the effort that you put to get to that point. We're not necessarily achieving this. In our prayers, we struggle. This struggle to actually get that focus is the khushu'. So khushu' is not the destination, is not the result. Khushu' is the effort. Today in Salat al-Taraweeh, as we are praying, inshallah ta'ala, put this in your mind. I know I have a lot of distractions around me and I'm just trying to stay focused. Know that this effort is the khushu'. You succeeded already by putting in the efforts. So yes, it is. Know that spiritual growth is a journey, not a destination. The next point. Some of us, we feel guilty that we're missing out, that there are certain things that we're not able to accomplish, or I'm not even emotionally ready yet to pray every single day Salat al-Taraweeh. Or I know that I have some anger issues, and I know that I would not necessarily be able to control my anger the full month. Or I know that I have a family issue and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to resolve this issue during this month. Well, that sometimes comes with a sense of guilt. You feel guilty about it. So guilt should lead to growth, not self-punishment. What I mean by this, we need to translate these emotions, the emotions of guilt, into an action plan. What I mean by this is that I know that maybe I'm not ready for Taraweeh prayer every single night, in addition to Salat al-Tahajjud in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. Now, you can just feel bad about it, and you feel this sense of guilt. I'm a terrible believer. Look at the people around me. They're able to actually even be consistent with their prayers. What about me? What's wrong with me? There is something wrong with me. Why am I too far from Allah? What's going on? You can go that route. And this route has no light at the end of the tunnel. It's an ugly route. You keep beating up yourself. Has no ilash for it. No khayr that can come out of it. There is no point. You will get nothing out of this. The other path, you say to yourself, well, I know. Remember acknowledgement, the first point. I know. I'm struggling with this right now. First and foremost, I will stop comparing myself to anybody because it's my journey. And I will be going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and Allah will ask me, as He said in the Quran, كُلُّكُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. I will be alone. I'll be resurrected alone in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And I will be answering Allah Azza wa Jal. So I should be focused on my own journey at this point. There's no point to compare myself to other people's journeys. And then I would say to myself, well, what can I do to get better? You see the difference? The thought process here is different. From just beating up yourself, going harsh on yourself, it's called self-punishment, to translate these emotions, to turn these emotions into a meaningful ones. What can I do? How can I start? And small and consistent, as the Prophet ﷺ said. Can I start with 4 rak'at? Or I actually can meet the 8 rak'at? Or I think I've done 8 rak'at in the past. I want to try the 20 rak'at, and I will ask Allah to give me strength to do every single night the 20 rak'at. This is the conversation that we need to have in our minds. So guilt should not lead to self-punishment. It should lead to a spiritual growth. You see an opportunity. It's good that your heart is acknowledging that there is something wrong. By the way, this is a good sign. The fact that you feel guilty about it, that the thought that you feel like there is something missing, is a good sign. I'll repeat it again. The thought that comes to your mind, that you say to yourself, there is something wrong, there is something missing, I need to accomplish more. These are all good signs. They're good signs. But it depends really how you translate this into an action plan and a spiritual growth or self-punishment. That's a choice. Now the next point, inshallah ta'ala, is that know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. Allah knows about your own condition. Allah knows about your own struggle. Allah knows about your challenges. Allah knows about what's in your heart. Allah knows about what's in your mind. Allah is with you as a believer. Allah said in the Quran, وَهُوَ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Allah is closer to you than your own vein. He's closer to you. He knows you. After addressing some of the mental health practices and steps, I want you to open your heart and say, Ya Allah, this is where I am. This is where I'm at. I am struggling with this. Struggling to have the best version of Ramadan. Not ready, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, help me. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you were to walk to Allah, Allah will run to you. Metaphorically, of course. If you were to just take that first step, and Allah sees in you that you really, your heart wants that spiritual growth during the month of Ramadan, and that you are in a state of desperation of the reward of Allah during the month of Ramadan, you show this to Allah, Allah will never turn you away. Especially this month. He said it. فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. The doors of heaven are widely open. No rejection. And by the way, the rest of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, and Munadi will say, Ya baghi al-khayri aqbil. Like somebody will shout and say, whoever is looking for khayr, just come, because you will get what you want. If you're looking for real change, if you're seeking real change, just come, because this is this is the time for you. This is the opportunity. You have that opportunity. So yes, I will open my heart to Allah Azza wa Jalla and say, Allah, I'm struggling with A, B, and C. And Ya Allah, help me. This is the month of Ramadan. This is your Prophet's promise. He said, anyone who is looking for a real change, who is looking for developing good habits, quitting bad ones, your Prophet has promised that if we were to do this, then this is the time for it. And I'm coming to you, Ya Allah, please help me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who will have a life transformation during this month of Ramadan. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. SubhanAllah, just as I was driving to the masjid, I had a whole different topic to discuss today. And then I was just talking to myself and I said to myself, I don't think I'm ready. Today is Salat al-Taraweeh, I should be leading Taraweeh prayer. And I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. And I was struggling to put a khutbah together. And I said to myself, you know what? If this is the way I feel, I'm very sure that some of us here in this room feel the same way. And I said to myself, just let me open my heart and I speak to you out loud what's in my mind. And so you're not in this alone. If you are struggling with this, wallahi, you're not in this alone. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to facilitate for us this Ramadan to be a month of prosperity, a month of khayr, a month of khayr to ourselves and to our families, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to emancipate us from hellfire in this month, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Emancipate all of our families, our beloved ones and the Ummah, the entire Ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from hellfire, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma a'tiq riqabana wa riqaba abaina wa ummahatina min an-nar. اللهم اجعلنا من المغفورين في هذا الشهر الكريم يا رب العالمين. اللهم تب علينا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم تقبل منا صيامنا وصلاتنا وركوعنا وسجودنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وأنعم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا وأقم الصلاة.